It has recently come to my attention that not everyone knows how to use SFM. So, in this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to use SFM to its fullest extent, showing you how to do everything possible to make your animations. Let's get started. I'm assuming you already have SFM installed, but if not, go over to Shop and look up SFM in here, or as it's more commonly called, Source Filmmaker, or alternatively, you can go here and click on Valve, if you don't already have it, on any Valve game like Team Fortress 2, Half-Life, Dota, and any others. You can then install it through here. That's just a tutorial on how to use Steam though. Once you have SFM installed, you want to click here and launch it. This doesn't really matter for beginners, so just click play. Once you've clicked that, you then should be able to launch Source Filmmaker. So once you're in here, you then just realize, hang on, what does any of this mean? This is to select where the file will go once you're done with it. For example, all my files are in this folder right here. Now I'm gonna blur out some stuff, but that's the gist of it. So once you do that, you can then also pick a file name and some other important stuff. So once you've done that, you can then just click create, and it should get you this and this message up above. This is telling you that you don't have a map loaded. To load a map, simply right click on this window and load map. You should get this opened up in your on your window here. Simply scroll down until you find the map you want. For example, I feel like doing it on 2 Fort. So I'll click 2 Fort by searching it up and then loading it. Once you're in your selected map, you then realize that there's no doors anywhere, and that all the props that would normally be on 2 Fort are nowhere to be seen, like doors and stuff like that. That's just because those are objects in the actual game itself and not interaction objects. To actually get them, you need to hit this record button, and then they will spawn in since those are game props. So then you just pick out the area you want to film in. Click this little plus icon in the top left and click create an animation set for new model. This will load up this menu here where you can look up some models. For example, if I wanted a pistol, I would scroll down and find the pistol I wanted. These in the models are where the game is, where it originates from the game. Stuff like the ambulance for medic, stuff for Half-Life, that sort of thing. Typical sort of stuff you would expect to see. Once you have found the model you were looking for, if you want to move around a scout or something, make sure it has this move thing here. You then just double click on it and it will load it into the scene, along with a camera. Now, if you want to move around this camera, just simply click here and then click, I believe it's this one. No, I was wrong the first time. This one. And then you can click it, and then you can click OK. And that will allow you to move it around like this. Alternatively, you can also move it like this by going into it, by clicking this button right here. Once you have won the model you would like to use, you then just click this button right here. We'll start out in this button, or you can click this button right here by pressing Alt F4, or just by clicking it to move around the model. If you don't do this, well, you can't really move around the model, but you can't, move. So, once you've got this, it is very important not to multi-select at all. If you do, your model will turn into spaghetti. That's because you're actually just grabbing all the bones when the only one you want to grab is this one right here. It is in between Scout's legs and it's just here. This goes for any model that is officially made by Valve. Valve, or any workshop items too, if they have full character rigging. Once you have it in the position you would like it in, you can then start animating. On frame 0, nothing will happen. Or, if you alternatively want, delete this, and then have it so that way for that many frames, the model doesn't move until you say it does. So, let's say I want Scout in this arm position. It does create a little thing here, but you can simply remove that. And look, there we go. Now it's only done in one arm, that's because you need to reselect it. If you want to select multiple things to change at once, click on the Scout in the top left here. Then, once you've done that, you can multi-select again and change everything. And that's the basics on getting animated in SFM, or animating in SFM. But you probably want to learn how to actually add stuff in, like hats and stuff. So I will also teach you that. To add in a gun or something, go up into here and type in pistol. Or just type in as many letters as you want, and then you can try and look for it. Once you have found the specific model you want to use, you then just want to click on it, like this. Let's say I want to use the winger. Then we have the winger, but there's one major issue. If you try and just simply put it in Scout's hand like this, it won't actually work. I've done it accidentally on the bone. If we just try and put it in Scout's hand, as you can see, if I try and move Scout's hand around once it's in, it won't actually go with Scout's hand, it's stuck in one position. So, to put it in Scout's hand, you want to first click on Scout by just going here. Then you want to try and look in Other for his gun bone, the weapon bone. To actually allow Scout to move it around though, you actually have to put this into here, which will allow Scout, if you zero it, to move it around, like so. And as you can see, if we move Scout's arm around, the gun now moves with it. You can also alternatively move the gun around separately, if you so wish. And if we do that, oh wait, I have to do it with weapon hand. If we do that, as you can see, it still moves the Scout. To create different keyframes, here's something you can do. If you simply just click on, move this little thing to the keyframe you want, it'll actually just move it. If you move it, it will create a new keyframe. This allows you to create new keyframes, like such. As you can see, I'm moving it around, and Scout is still holding the gun, but also, he also moves with it. It's a bit slow because I didn't set it up like I should, but it's fine. Alternatively, if you want a keyframe to be moved, you just click on it and move it. Some of these flatten them out, but some of these don't. If you decide to move this and click this one, it will actually flatten it out, so it will snap to the position. You have to do this for everyone you want, but once you've got that, it snaps pretty much instantly. Smoothing it is an easy process too. You just click this, and it smooths it right out. Alternatively, you can also just have it in a straight line. Or, if you want, you can also move it with that one, right there, by clicking and moving this. And there you go. And now move it to your heart's content, making it as smooth or as jagged as you want. This would be useful for, let's say you had an object that you wanted to go in an arc. This would be helpful for that, since it could be sped up and slowed down. So, quite useful. But you might have noticed that when we move the hand around, the gun kind of flies out. Don't be panicked, this just happens if you decide to move the bone around. To fix it, just zero it again, and it should be completely fixed. See? See how it's completely fixed? I say completely, but Scout's arm is still bugging the flip out because I did not do this correctly. But that's fine, because you don't need to be good at animating in order to use FSFM. So, I'm assuming you now want to know how to use cosmetics. Well, it's easy too. Just simply click here and type in Scout, or whichever class you picked. Then put these here. Scroll down until you have the cosmetic you want for Scout. Let's say I want this cosmetic for Scout. I'll click here, and then I can move it by doing this. You see where it says head? Well, we go to Scout's body parts, like right here, if I just move these all in, and we look for the Pacific one. Then we just simply grab this and put it into here. Zeroing it will cause it to snap right to Scout's head. Don't like how the cosmetic kind of clips into Scout's other hat? That's easy to fix. We just simply right click on Scout's model where it says Scout, and then we can also change what team he's on. So let's say I want him to be on blue or something, or to be extremely beat up. We can do that here. To remove his hat though, you can just simply go into here and go to hat to remove it. It'll still keep Scout's headset, that's because that's a separate model entirely. But you want to add a particle effect. That's easy to do. There are two ways to add particle effects. Firstly, you can use the strategy called Hope and Beg. You go into this menu right here, and hope and beg to God that it's the right thing. For example, let's hope and beg to God that this is the blood splatter effect I want. This is the way I do it, but it is definitely not the most efficient way. As you also saw in that menu, if we go back to it, there was also multiple options, like here was the different types of effects you could use. For example, here was the time, and here was the lifetime. So that was the emission duration, start time, and particle system lifetime. So once we have all of that in, we can then see if it worked. But you might need to reset the animation. How you do this is, I do it like this. I click this, then I click this. Yes, and as you can see, there's the blood splatter effect. To move it though to the correct position, you just click on it again, and all, and then this is the one you actually want to move. So let's say I wanted it to go to Scout's head, we just move Scout's head to this, and then we zero it to that. Once again, we need to reset the animation, so just do this. Just move this little slider thing around, and yeah, see how there's like tiny little pixels of red? That's the blood. We can also move it around so it's not just like that. And that's the way I do it, but there is actually a different way. If we go to Windows, we actually have this thing called View Effects, and that's how you actually meant to do it, but I do it like that for quickness. Because I don't really care, because if it's not the right one, I'll just Control Z. And that's how you make a TF2 animation, but you're probably wondering, how do I export it? Well, if it's meant to be a picture, you can export it like this, by going to Export, right here. You have two options, export it as image, or export it as movie. Let's say I wanted to export it as the image, because this is going to be the thumbnail. Well, firstly, we're just going to move this camera along so that way it's in the correct position for us. So we just click on the camera so that way we can move it. And there, this is going to be the image on what we're going to use it on. And that's how we're going to export the image. So we just simply, once again, click export, and we click on image. Movies are slightly different. We need to save first, and then it gives you all of this. Don't worry, all you need to do is do it in sequence, so that way it doesn't just capture this. It'll actually be set on this selected segment, but you actually want it on sequence, that way if you have multiple things, it should be easier to see. You can also do it frame by frame if you want the images for each frame. And then you can just export from here. But let's say you wanted it as an image. So just simply click image and then you get this file thing. We're going to call it O. For quickness. Why not? And there we go. It's now called O. Also, when you move the camera, as you can see, it also adds this little trail effect. That's because of a lot of things. But to simply remove that trail, you can just click the first frame and then the first keyframe, and then just press delete on your keyboard if you're not on the window, like that. And notice how the trail's gone. That's how you do it. Let's say, though, after exporting you realize, oh wait, there's something messed up with my Scout. His eyes are in the wrong position. I'll show you how to animate that right now, but if you wanted to do that, you'll just have to re-export it and then just export it as an image again and call it the exact file it was. There's no real way to do it with movies though. Let's say that you've noticed your Scout's eyes are in the wrong position, or you don't really like the facial structure of Scout. That's easy to do. All you need to do for this is just simply click on Scout and go to emotions. Then you can do all of this. Notice how Scout's being screwed up again? That's common when it comes to this. The way we fix that is by only clicking on face. If we simply double click on face, we get all of these. Normally I like to miss out the eyes because it creates this. But let's say that you thought the eyes were creepy. Simply click on eyes and go down to here, where you can then adjust them to your heart's content. Like so. Doesn't Scout look like the happiest camper to ever camp? Oh my god. And that's how you animate eye movement. But let's say you also want Scout to say something. Just simply click on punctuation or verbs, and then you can also move those around by just clicking on the lower face, and then Scout will go with the letter that you selected, like Y and Ah. And that's how you animate Scout talking and stuff. That's how you do it. It is really inefficient, but you can do it technically. Now it's just time for me to speed up what I normally do, so I'm just gonna go to Scout's gun and just do everything I would normally do. And then we're all done. So that's how you would animate this. So then you just export it, like I showed you before. And then you can just... And there you go. That's how you export. Now wherever you saved it to, that will be where your file is. So I will show you that. That's how you start animating an SFM. Also remember to save the image if you thought it was cool. Remember kids, the main way people quit SFM is by forgetting to do that animation saving. So remember to always make backups of your animations. And that's how you animate an SFM apart from I showed you how to do effects, but that's how you would do it. If you've enjoyed this video, please do anything. I don't give a crap. Goodbye.